everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Danmei Digest, where I talk about whatever Danmei novel catches my interest. I will be discussing Mistakenly Saving the Villain by Feng Yu Nie, translated by Seven Seas Entertainment. You can read the full summary of the book in this podcast description. But first, a trigger warning for sexual assault and other mature topics that might make listeners uncomfortable. I will do my best to keep the details light, but it is a big aspect of the book setting. Not gonna lie, it is difficult and upsetting to read this book at times, especially in the beginning. But let's back up and introduce our main character, Song Qingshi. Song Qingshi is a medical student from our world who dies from ALS, a terminal illness. When he dies, he's greeted by a system who is tasking him with rescuing and taking care of the main lead from a web novel. Not just saving him, but protecting him and giving him a happy life, since this character suffered a lot in the original novel. Song Qingshi really wants this do-over and a healthy body, so he basically lies and says he's experienced with romance and will have no problem accomplishing this mission. Interestingly, when the system gives Song Qingshi his mission, there are pieces of information that are redacted. In the book, there's literally a shaded-in area where the text is supposed to be. The first redacted piece of text is related to his goal in this world. So aside from rescuing the main character, there is another objective that we are all kept in the dark about. My best guess is that it has something to do with abolishing the horrible class system in this world. But this is a huge undertaking, so I don't even know if it's possible. Regardless, Song Qingshi is reborn into the body of the Medicine King, who thankfully was quite similar to Song Qingshi's actual personality. They're both obsessed with medicine, antisocial, and can get lost in medical texts for days. To find the main lead of the novel, Song Qingshi attends a party held by a cultivation sect. The leader of this sect owns many slaves, and one of them is supposed to be the main lead. To go into the setting of this book, it is beyond disturbing. Normally in a cultivation novel, the cultivators use their enhanced abilities to protect the common people. Here, cultivators oppress the mortals and capture them to ultimately sell them into slavery. In this case, sexual slavery. These people are treated like toys, and it's quite uncomfortable to read this book at times. It definitely doesn't leave you feeling warm and happy inside. So at this party, Song Qingshi is not quite sure who the main lead is, since he hasn't actually read the novel. He only knows that they have a tragic past and is inhumanly beautiful. As you can tell from the title of this book, he chooses the wrong person. Now introducing the other main character, Yue Wuhuan. His past is so tragic, my heart breaks for him. Previously, he was a mortal prince, but he was taken on as a disciple by a well-known cultivator. Little did he know, though, that this cultivator's trade is to find beautiful mortals and teach them enough cultivation that they can live a longer life, then betray them and sell them into slavery. I mean, just imagine somebody that you've been with for many years and that you trust just destroys your life in an instant, and to such a horrible fate as well. Luckily, Song Qingshi has a strong enough reputation that he's able to buy Yue Wuhuan without much trouble. And I love this line that he says at the end of this particular chapter. Tens of thousands of dying fish had washed ashore and lay dying in the shallows. He couldn't save all of them. He could carry only a single fish to the sea, returning it to freedom. So why bother? Because it matters to that fish. Song Qingshi, while awkward, is truly a kind and just person. Additionally, I think he sees some of himself in Yue Wuhuan. There are a lot of parallels between Song Qingshi's death and Yue Wuhuan's life. Song Qingshi spends his last moments unable to move his body, but mentally aware of what's going on, trapped in his own mind, in his own body. Yue Wuhuan is also trapped, not only into sexual servitude, but he also can't die. There's no escape for him. In this world, there's a life seal that forces the slave to obey every single word of their master. So if the master orders them not to kill themselves, they can't directly commit suicide. This world is dark, but a major point of this book is recovery and healing, albeit a very strange path to healing that results in a yandere. The following chapters is just Song Qingshi healing Yue Wuhuan from his injuries, but also giving him back his cultivation abilities that he developed before he was sold into slavery. Yue Wuhuan is slow to trust, but Song Qingshi is simple and earnest in his efforts, and only really has medicine on his mind, and Yue Wuhuan can tell that. In Song Qingshi's mind, the best way to heal Yue Wuhuan mentally is to teach him medicine and make him his assistant. He also spoils Yue Wuhuan quite a bit by giving him the rarest and most expensive remedies this world has to offer. But I mean, honestly, can you blame him? After reading about Yue Wuhuan's past, I also want to wrap him in blankets and protect him. Amongst this section of sweet healing and recovery, there are also bits of humor. Some of it comes from the author's style of writing. He likes to make plays on Song Qingshi's name, for example, calling him Song Hands-Off Qingshi, referring to him not being great at managing his medicine valley. Another example is calling him Overachiever Song. The author likes to use that one a lot. Or most ridiculously, Song Fatherly Love Qingshi. Other bits of humor come from the fact that he's also just super oblivious and really doesn't understand social constructs. At the end of this grouping of chapters, Yue Wuhuan and Song Qingshi go into a nearby city. Song Qingshi starts gazing intently at some of the women from a brothel, and Yue Wuhuan asks why he's looking at them. Song Qingshi replies that he thinks that something might be wrong with one of their gallbladders. Okay, so as much as I want to protect Yue Wuhuan, we can also see him turning into a yandere. For those of you who don't know, yanderes are like, touch my beloved and I'll kill you. There are various degrees of yanderes. Some will never harm the person most important to them, but definitely wants to monopolize them and is quick to kill others. Other yanderes are more intense and will kill the object of their affection rather than lose their love. I'm not sure where Yue Wuhuan falls into. He's definitely intense from his past experiences. Obviously, the harm that has been done to him has made him extremely vengeful and murderous. At some point, he finds out that one of the medical cadavers is the dead body of one of the people who assaulted him. He takes great joy in stabbing and cutting open that dead body, and he also is very covetous of Song Qingshi's attention. He also definitely wants Song Qingshi in a sexual way too, and has dreamt of some kinky things. But, we'll have to see. I can kind of picture him as either kind of yandere, so I guess I'll have to read more to know for sure. I am so happy that Song Qingshi is helping Yue Wuhuan heal and gain happiness, but I also do feel really bad for the original protagonist, as well as, of course, all the others who are taken advantage of in this horrible system. I'm fairly certain the book's actual protagonist is Bai Zihao, and he is still in the clutches of the person who threw that party in the beginning of the book. However, Song Qingshi is looking into ways to free Yue Wuhuan from the life seal. The existing ways are costly and extremely hard to do, so I'm hoping that he discovers a better way and can help free all the slaves in this world. That's my hope, but as I mentioned in the beginning, I feel like it's just a near impossible task to upheave this whole world's twisted system. So far, I am loving these characters, but I'm also so worried for them. The information broker in the city that Song Qingshi visits for information on the life seal says something that I could be reading into. He says the medicine king's reputations will go down the drain by helping the disgraced and shameful Yue Wuhuan. Is this foreshadowing? I really hope not. But of course, we have many books to go, and it can't just be, healing and goodness for all of them. Okay, let's talk briefly about the artwork in this book. It's truly stunning, and a completely different style from Copper Coins. It's less realistic and more artful. For example, the hair is less defined and kind of has a blurred texture that is almost reminiscent of a paintbrush. It's very whimsical and magical, which is perfect because the two main characters are very beautiful. One thing that I'm wondering after reading this group of chapters is why this book is called Mistakenly Saving the Villain. Before starting this book, I thought that maybe Yue Wuhuan was the villain in the original novel. However, the book mentions that he's just a side character that appears only 3 times. Maybe he's called a villain because of his yandere and murderous nature? It's possible that the reasons for calling him a villain will be revealed further down the line. But knowing the naming of some of the Chinese dramas that I've watched, whose English titles make absolutely no sense, it could just be because it sounds nice. So I guess we'll have to see for that one. I am really loving this book so far. Despite feeling disturbed and sad at times because of the setting, the interactions between the two main characters are really cute and fun. Yanderes are not for everyone, and certainly should not be approved of in real life, but me personally, I love a yandere character. So yeah, we're about halfway through the novel at this point. It goes pretty quickly because the novel is on the shorter side. And obviously I'm enjoying it very much, so the time is flying. And yeah, I'm very excited to finish this book. So far, it's shaping up to be a series that I'll definitely continue with. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and until next time.